Friends, hello and welcome back. Hope everyone is having a lovely day. So today we thought, you know what? We're gonna try something different here. Yeah, I mean, if you're anything, and probably not, but if you was anything like me, I got this problem where I like to look back in the past, specifically at hockey drafts. I think this Hockey DB does such a great job of like putting together the site of having draft histories and everything. But it's my favorite pastime, going back into drafts and be like, who could have my Blue Jackets gotten that they passed up on? Looking back and seeing who ended up being the best players of the draft, who ended up being busts of the draft. You know, like the Lafreniere drafts, there's so much hype, so much talk, like, oh, what a rigged draft. The Rangers won the draft. Go figure, a New York team. And then, well, what happens to Lafreniere? You know, what happens to Kako? Nonetheless, we're gonna look at the last decade. We're gonna go year by year. We're gonna see if we can guess the best player of each draft class. Now, of course, you know, we can guess the best players in the league right now, but what draft class became a little bit more challenging. Starting back in 2013. Play along if you please. 2013 was or not 2013, 2014. 2013 be 11 years, right? 2013. Yeah, 2013 be 11 years because we're gonna count this year's draft. So 2014. Oh, no, what 2015, that's like the marker. We're getting down the road now, but we're still using it as the marker. We know what 2015 was. 2014, was that the other year? See, now Edmonton won the lottery 2 years in a row, right? And then they had the 1 year they did, and then they won it the other one. They won a 3 or 4 year. Was it that year? Was that the Neil Yakupov draft? 2014? I mean, if it was Neil Yakupov, obviously best player in that draft. I mean, that guy was so freaking good at hockey that he retired early and went and played somewhere else. I mean, think about that. That's impressive. Who else came out of that draft? Morgan Riley, best of 2014. Oh yeah, that wasn't that draft. All right, we're gonna that was a bad start. We're 0 for 1. We was in the right. We was in the right. The ballpark was right though, because it was Leon Draisaitl. Imagine that if you're Edmonton. The years they had in the draft were, to this day, you look at these drafts and say, this team, absolutely, if they can just get a goaltender and build a little bit of a defense out of these drafts, they build a dynasty. I mean, they already have dynasty style player. It's crazy. You know, as we know, 2015, that's the Connor McDavid draft. The best player in that draft, easy, McDavid. Check it off the board. Got it. 2016, that was the Matthews lineout and Blue Jacket legend. Trade me, please, Pierre-Luc Dubois. That's obviously, I would say, that's Matthews' draft. I don't think there's anybody else in the draft that's going to come up and compete with him there. Check it off the board. 2017. Now, this is when we started to get... We went from Edmonton winning the drafts to Taylor... This is where the Taylor Hall talk started, right? It's like, hey, whoever Taylor Hall's team's on, they're winning that lottery. This is where the Devils started winning lotteries, if I ain't mistaken. I think they won it in 2017 then 19, right? They won it the odd-numbered years, if I ain't mistaken. They took Nico Hischier. I remember entering this draft before, you know, months before, it was like, this is Nolan Patrick's year. This is Nolan Patrick's draft. How can we ever forget about that? Patrick and Hischier is 1 and 2. It was like, oh, you gotta have one of them. You know, Hischier was controversial. He was the pick. And then what happened? You know, at least the Devils can sleep a little bit at night and feel okay about things and say, hey, well, we got Hischier. He's a really good defensive centerman. Can put points up. He can produce for us at a top 6 level consistently. But Nolan Patrick. Sorry, Philadelphia. Close your ears. It's easy to remember those. Miro Heiskanen, Cale Makar. Petey was in this draft too, right? All three I think all 3 taken after him. I believe that happened. It's got to be Cale Makar in this draft, right? It's got to be Cale Makar. Yeah, Cale Makar. But my boy Martin Necas was taken that year. No, Philadelphia, next time, just draw a name out of a hat. I mean, they did what they were supposed to do. To be fair, Philly did exactly what they're supposed to do, and those are the 2 consensus favorites across the board. But it's weird how that plays out sometimes over a course of a year, and the end of the draft when the guy's stock starts to fall a little bit. 2018 was Rasmus Dahlin. It's not ringing bells. Dahlin, drawing a blank. More Dahlin. Why can't I think of anybody after him? We're gonna ring it in on Dahlin. That's all that's coming to mind. I know there's more players. Dahlin ain't it though. I know it isn't. Duh. I knew it. We were just talking about the Hughes brothers. What if Jack was 2019, Quinn came the year before him was 2018. Even Svechnikov was in there. But yeah, I think you take Quinn Hughes in that draft. 2019, again, speaking of the Hughes brothers, we talked about it, the Devils, they won 2017, they won the 2019 lotteries. They select Jack Hughes. Excellent selection. Looking like the best player out of that draft. Starting to look like one of the best players in the league. Rightfully so. Big pick there by the Devils. 2020, speaking of that, New York Rangers. I remember this one. I remember it very, adamantly, because you always hear it. You always hear it when it's the big market teams. Like, well, what a coincidence! Just like this year with Bedard in Chicago. Like, it felt like you knew Chicago was going to win it 6 months in advance, and what do you know? They won a draft. But this was the year it was like, oh, Lafreniere is going to be the next franchise. There was a lot of hype around Lafreniere, whole lot of it. And coincidentally, him and Byfield goes too. And the Kings and Rangers at the two biggest markets in sports, minus Toronto when it comes to hockey. And they coincidentally win the lottery, move up big spots in the draft, right? Was it like 12 and 11, 13 and 9? What were the Kings? There was a jump there by the Rangers, if I'm not mistaken. It was a big jump. It's like, oh, here we go. The NHL draft lottery is rigged. And no, well, little do we know, little old Ottawa comes in scooping in with the hammer and picks up Tim Stützle. Oh, what a stud this guy's been. Stützle's definitely got to be the best out of that draft class, right? Oh, that's right. Ottawa picked up some dogs in this draft. They got Stützle and Sanderson. Stützle, Sanderson, Raymond's been really good. That's going to be tough. I think right now Stützle's got him beat. I mean, we might look down the road the way Lucas Raymond plays. Lucas Raymond starts off hot every year, it seems like now. But we look down the road, Lucas Raymond's got that he's got that ability to kind of pop off. Leon Draisaitl was an interesting one, because it was 4 years in, he was putting up 70 points a season his last 2 seasons, the third and fourth years, I believe, third and fourth or fifth, and then he just said that, all right, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna start dropping 50 goals a year, and he ain't looked back since. Lucas Raymond feels like he's got those tools and abilities to be that kind of player. 2021, that was the last of the Hughes brothers. Can we take another one? Is it too early to project that? Can we take Luke Hughes? He ain't played enough. He's been solid, but I know this is his first year. He ain't played enough to probably qualify. Beniers hasn't been playing as stellar this season. I think he's been playing a little better lately. I mean, I guess you could go Owen Power here. Owen Power is, showing some bright spots. I think we'd say Owen Power. The guy's taking number 1 over here in this draft. I would say Owen Power is the best of 2021. Yeah. It seems like it's too early to tell. Because Ken Johnson, that's a biased Blue Jay can't take. But Wyatt Johnson, I feel like he's showing some sparks. There's guys later in this draft that have shown some promise, and I feel like you got to see them prove it more, play a little bit more, and they might figure it out. 2022. Now, I'm gonna be honest. Something about 2022, it draws a blank every time. The only thing that's coming to my mind. Have we seen a lot of 2022? I feel like it looks like a weaker class right now, because I don't think we're hearing more about Bedard than we did anybody ever out of that draft class. I can only think of Simon Nemec, and I know that's not the guy. We're gonna go with Nemec though. That's all I got. Who is it? It was as tough as I was thinking it'd be. Logan Cooley, maybe? You could say Logan Cooley. I mean, Shane Wright, I remember Shane Wright, that was another guy. He was going to that draft. He was supposed to be top 2, right? And he slid late. And it's looking like that was the right decision. Boston got Poitras in the second round. That might end up being the pick of the draft. Who knows how that one turns out. 2023. I think we know this one. I think we got a clue. I think we got a little bit of a clue. Connor Bedard. Bedard's been playing stellar. He's been living up to all the hype. And we were talking about the next Crosby, the next McDavid. And Connor Bedard comes into Chicago, a torn to pieces team. And he's been impressive so far. So Connor Bedard reels off the last one. So we did all right. What do we get? We get 3 wrong? 2-3 wrong out of 10. I mean, every year. It's easy. Like I said, I feel like it's easy to look back and say, okay, I remember. If we bring up the draft, you remember who they missed. It was like, what year was that? Right? How'd you guys do? 10 to 10? 9 to 10? 8 to 10? 7 to 10? 6 to 10 is even good. I'd be impressed with 5 to 10. I think you could tell. I think if you list off every draft, if you list off the number 1 overall pick for the last 10 years, I feel like that'd be easier. But listing off the best player of each, I think it's a little more difficult. Love y'all's thoughts. Love you how you thought about the video. A little bit of a different concept here today. As always, thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next time.